Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's our chess show. Uh, at this first one at 3 o'clock in English, and then we'll have 3:30 in Russian. So I would like to immediately introduce my esteemed guests. It's Grandmaster Mikhail Marin, his wonderful, beautiful wife Maria. Welcome to the show today. And
Yes,
of
that's
course,
definitely.
Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Yes, thank you for having me again. These
Yeah,
are difficult times. Yeah.
with you show is so much different than without you, and I would like to immediately give you the first take of your investigation.
Uh, First state of wait of my opinions, or yes. Well, of course. First, I roundly condemned the invasion and what has happened, and I will try to give you a means of appraising it that is apart from simply giving that opinion.
Okay.
So that's what I talked about. And second, if I could share my screen, I am very glad to see this statement by the FIDE managing director. Wait, let me go back here and share my screen. Um, so so this is a very forthright statement by Dana Resnitsa Ozala.
Oh, her husband was here on the program, right?
Her husband was, yes, was on the
Mhm.
program in
Yeah.
December. Okay,
Mhm.
so she says while any international sports organization's duty is to represent Olympic values, bring peace, and care for the best interests of sportsmen, even during the most turbulent time, our action cannot be separated from the actual context. Okay. And I would say I would make an allusion to the 1956 Olympics when the Soviet Union and Hungary did participate, even after the Soviet action in Hungary. So I think that's context for what she wrote there. Uh, I reiterate the importance of the FIDE Council's decision to cancel organization of the Chess Olympiad and FIDE Congress in Moscow and Khanty-Mansiysk. No chess events and competitions are to be held in Russia while it carries out the brutal incursion in Ukraine. Under the current circumstances, I would also urge my colleagues to review sponsorship relationships and relocating FIDE operational activities outside Russia. Is any means valid for reaching your goals? In a war, each day is counted with human lives, not ours. And this fact alone does not allow any excuses or arguments to use war as the means of solution or solution. Wars, Russia's military invasion in Ukraine is to be condemned. There is no room for justification. I feel deeply sorry for all the people who have become chess pieces in somebody's hands, being sacrificed or used for attacking in a vicious game of power. I pray for them and their families. So I myself cannot say better than that. Uh,
Wow. But hold on, wait a sec. So, what's going to happen with all these chess competitions? A lot of them are scheduled for to be in Russia, like Chess Olympiad, I think.
well,
Uh,
the Olympiad has been relocated, so that was the first. I skipped over the first part, the news that the
oh,
FIDE Council immediately decided that the Chess Olympiad shall not be held in Russia. There is currently a bid to hold it in India, uh, and so the
it's insane. I'll tell you one thing. It's all insane. I'm thinking about for days, for hours of really how it affects chess, and I mean, chess is so apolitical activity. It's just incredible because if you will take even an opera, for example, so there are certain things happening in certain countries, and you are against king or you are for king, and when so the king is being killed, so you think that this is atrocity, how it could happen, and there is a music that displays mightily this event, or Maria, like in arts. I mean, there are so many things that are even. I'm not talking about biblical the narrative that was displayed in all the great works of arts from anyway from Michelangelo to Leonardo da Vinci to Caravaggio, several others. I don't want to mention all that. But chess, I mean, chess is related. Some people would believe to maybe to math, maybe to science, probably arts, of course, as we always discussed. So it must be as apolitical as anything. I mean, there is nothing even to be compared. I mean,
Right.
math. Again, is math political or it is not?
Well, there have been efforts to politicize it, both famously
Math?
in the Soviet Union, where it got very ridiculous, and also in the U.S. by an organization called Conservapedia picked fights with what they thought were leftist mathematics, and I did not get involved in that.
Mhm.
But the extremes are actually going to be the subject of my other theorizing. What you can read from people who resort to extremities in order to justify their positions.
Mm.
But yes, you know, so I mean, math by nature is not political, and um, you know, this question of math collaborations still going on, even beside between uh, warring countries. It's a good question. I'd be
But
curious to
Ken,
know. Yes,
wait a sec. We've discussed a couple of weeks ago and last week as well the Soviet chess school. We
right.
never discussed the mathematics chess school because the mathematics always seems to me extremely logical and how I mean nationality or political views could affect math. I mean, so you say in one system 4 plus 4 is 8, but then another system, 4 plus 4 is 9. So which one is right? What
Well,
is it?
in mathematics, of course, there is the every theorem has an objective truth value, every statement that is.
Mhm.
But but if you want to ask, yes, there was a Soviet mathematics school, quote unquote, and the answer is it was less abstract than the European movement toward abstraction that was started by the French Bourbaki seminar.
Mhm.
And it was, in fact, so in my field, the greatest influence was Andrei Nikolaevich Kolmogorov, who had an office down the hall from Mikhail Botvinnik when Botvinnik was in the Engineering Institute, his most famous Soviet mathematician of the 20th century, perhaps,
Yeah.
co-founder of information theory, a measure of information complexity that I've used in my work.
Mhm.
And that again is more concrete and combinatorial than the abstractions of the European school. So,
Yeah, very interesting. I remember from my school years the great scientist, specifically in geometry. His name was Lobachevsky. It
oh
was
yes,
Lobachevsky's theory.
he's
However,
early 18th, 19th century. Yeah.
yeah, but okay, let's coming back to chess. Actually, Mikhail asked me, "Are we going to talk about chess today?" And I said, "Of course we will." So, okay, we talk a little bit about math, but now coming back to chess, I was really, really surprised by statements made by well-known Russian grandmasters. One Karyakin, who says that he fails to understand how anybody could be against Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
I did not read that one.
He
Yes.
was born in Ukraine, by the way. However, and there were some others like Daniil Dubov, like even Yan Nepomniachtchi, who is struggling today with
Shipov,
Carlson.
Shipov also.
Yeah,
That they're against it. Yes.
so they were against. So, Mikhail, you are
No,
a
no, no, no. Shipov was
voice of reason. You are a voice of calm. So, please tell us, what do you think about the Grandmaster's reaction on what's happening, and
I,
what's
I
yours?
I don't feel so much the reason the calm now, because okay, unlike you who have a continent and an ocean between you and the place where this horrible thing happens, we are just next door. So we have border with Ukraine, Romania. So well, we are in NATO and we have certain guarantees, but you never know with such a madman. I mean, no, of course, I'm both. We are both outraged and scared a bit about what
Yes.
happens. And yeah, but everything is strange nowadays. First the pandemics, then all the things in the states with all these BLM things with violence. Now this war, I mean,
Oh yeah,
and
you're
it's not a war actually. It's a special military operation. Yes, it's not a
Quote,
war.
quote unquote. What's the difference between the special military operation and real war, in your opinion?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Yes, of course. No, we don't understand. Maria felt after the last election that something bad may happen in Russia, but her imagination didn't go that far.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
So
it is
it's too much.
too much. Yeah, when so many people are dying, do you know how many Russians already being dead? 3,000.
Oh, that I don't know. Is that verified?
of, of,
Yes,
Yeah.
3,000
according,
verified. And what's interesting is that I was listening to a Russian program that you see, the most horrible thing for Putin is when the bodies would start arrive and the relatives, whoever they left alive, would have to bury them. So in order to avoid that, what they do, of course, the last thing what I heard from official Russian news, there are no casualties in within Russian soldiers. How can you imagine
Yeah.
any war,
no,
incursion?
no.
How
Let
is
me
that?
let me make the things clear. If this is a war, then 3,500 Russians were killed. If this is a special military operation, then no Russian
Oh,
was.
that's a difference.
Yes, it's saying
Understand?
that goes with the linguistic
Okay,
category. You're right.
that
Yeah.
makes sense, Mikhail. Yeah, this is very well put.
They are not
Oh, no.
allowing the word invasion,
Of
in
course, we are
fact.
joking about sad things. I mean, okay, if an Ukrainian dies or a Russian dies, I mean, okay, they are people, and the Russians, I'm not so sure if the soldiers really dreamt to do that, what they are doing now, because, okay, what's the difference? I mean, they are in the same danger as the Ukrainians. It's and nobody asks them about how they think about the whole thing. So I
I
understand.
think I wish they would play a chess match, Russian chess school against Ukrainian chess school, and whoever would win would be the right one to solve that. And that I think chess was modeled when it was invented 2,000 years ago in India. It was modeled as a war game, which is strategic, which is very similar to the armies of that time. And that was supposed to resolve all the conflicts at the chessboard.
But nowadays we have the cheating possibility. So you
Oh,
can
yes.
you can imagine that. Okay, I don't say that any of the great Russian or Ukrainian players cheated or would cheat. But if they would play with at such a stake, it would be not them, but their captains who may induce them to cheat. You understand?
Yes,
But
that
again,
could be.
again,
Yes.
you're in anti-cheating commission in FIDE. So what would you say about cheating? What Mikhail is alleging
Well,
happening?
there was the famous case of Sebastian Feller, where it's pretty much acknowledged that the
Ooh.
French team captain was one of the accessories.
Oh,
So I wouldn't put it beyond a team captain. But in any event, what one of the things that I've prepared to say is that I have some mathematics related to the anti-cheating vocation that gives some structure to understanding, to making deductions from the statements that both sides are saying. Uh,
hmm.
for instance, a more particular one than what you just talked about is for the attack on Snake Islands, Obrozimilia, whatever.
Yes.
So the Ukrainian story is that they had 13 soldiers on the island and they all defied the warship. We have a recording of that, and they were all killed. The Russians say there were 82 soldiers on the island and they all surrendered peacefully and will be returned to their families. So the thing is, even if you're going to lie about it, where do you get the number 82 from? It's a small island. It's not directly in front of Odessa. It's relevant if ships are approaching Odessa, but it's relevant if you have 20 kilometer range guns.
Uh,
And so,
Ken, I
And
can
it's
assure
mainly a stone. There is no source of water on it.
you,
so
you
yeah,
know
it's a very
this
it's a
island
very
is
small
very
island.
close to Romania and also to the Odessa.
No, actually, it was Romanian at some point. That is some sort of controversy about it.
Yeah,
Of course,
well,
Romania has no chance against either Ukraine or Russia to compete for that. But I think we got some territorial waters around it or something like that. But I think that at some point it was Romanian.
At
right.
some point, yes, but
Yes.
okay, now obviously it was part of Ukraine. But I want to tell you something. Try to Google this island, Zmiyini. You will find out very interesting thing. It's very small piece of land.
Yeah.
It's not, forget about 82, even 32 people could not be located there. There are just
Yes.
not enough real estate. Even if you will be standing like in a subway, each next to each other, you will never get there 82 people. It's
Yeah.
just impossible.
Right. So I have a photo of it right here. I can show.
You have it,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So
you
So
mentioned the number 32. So you cannot organize a chess game
mhm.
with people. Yes, 2 times 32, no?
you're
Yeah,
right.
that's right. So
But you need
so here's
64 squares and it's not there.
yes. So here's here is the picture of the island. I have it here. Attack on Snake Island. Okay. So Ostriv Zimini in Ukrainian.
Zmiyini.
Zmini. So it's a very small island. It looks even you could see it even more clearly in a picture that I have from this. So the point is, if you're going to have 82 people on that island, then you would have them manning guns, some powerful guns that you're using to try to control the approaches to the Danube Delta. To say you have 82 people on the island and they did not fire guns at you makes absolutely no sense. In fact, the regular population, as you say, is 30, and there were 13 soldiers were, according to the Ukrainians, the only occupants on that. So the Russian story doesn't even make prior sense. So the question is, why didn't the Russians say that the 13 people surrendered? We agree there were 13 soldiers and they surrendered. Why do they invent a story that says they got
Wait.
82?
But hold on, Ken. We're mixing up something.
Yeah.
You said that the 13 soldiers surrendered, right?
No.
But
The
they did
13
not.
soldiers were killed.
They
I'm
were
saying,
killed.
I'm
They were
saying,
fighting until
right,
the last one been alive. They
right,
were offered to resign, to give up,
yes,
and the commander said to Russian to go to hell, but not even in so nice terms. He used
right,
another word,
yes, it's
and they were all
ridicule,
killed.
yes,
And they will be buried in Ukraine with as a great heroes.
yeah,
But it's neither here nor there. The Ostrov Zmiyini or Snake Island
yeah,
is very close to the city of Odessa.
right,
City of Odessa. That's where I was born and spent my childhood, and
mhm,
educated in a special music school by Stolarsky. It was at that time one of top three schools in Russian in Soviet Union. We celebrated one day. Special day was April the 10th. What's happened on April 10th? Apparently, in 1944, the Odessa was liberated from the Germans. That's why that day was always celebrated in Odessa. And it's never been occupied until 2 days ago. It hasn't been really occupied, they're all fighting. But it's incredible that now, so many years after the war, somebody is trying to occupy my city where I was born. That's incredible. That's a war crime. There is nothing else to describe.
yeah,
However, so the chess, I do remember the first Olympiad that I visited many chess Olympiads because my wife now was playing for Canadian team, and I missed maybe one or two. Um, so the first Olympiad that we played, and Nava played very well and got the gold medal on the second board, was in Haifa in Israel. in 1976.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, Soviet Union team did not play in that Olympiad. Why? They were not invited? Absolutely not. They were invited as usual, and they were always
Mhm.
winners
Mhm.
in that Olympiads.
with
They
one
chose.
exception. With one exception.
Yep.
Buenos Aires 78, the Hungarians won.
No, no,
Yes.
but it was after
Yes,
76.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, before 76, they were winning
Mhm.
everything. And actually, in women's Olympiads, I think Romania team sometimes was fighting with them.
We twice shared the first place with them,
Yeah.
but they applied, biased criteria. When
Mm,
when the Soviet team had the better tiebreak,
yeah.
they gave it by tiebreak.
Mhm.
Next, when Romania had better tiebreak, they played a match. So you know,
There's no
Very
way.
logical.
Yeah.
There's
it
no.
was twice that we no Romania got quite a few medals at the Olympiads, but twice they shared for first. They tied for first with. It was true. They played only on two boards at that time.
Yeah, only two balls. I
Of
think it
course,
was Polychroniade was playing and somebody.
no, the stronger player was Alexander Nicolau.
Nicolau, yes,
She,
of course.
she twice beat Gabrindashvili,
Yeah,
once in
Nicolau was
19
good.
moves. No, she was
Mhm.
a very strong player. Later, because of Polychroniades, all kind of things, she moved to. Actually, she married to Holland, and she
Yes.
moved to Holland and played for Holland for many years.
Hmm.
But okay, unfortunately, both ladies are not with us anymore. But I got to know Alexandra van der Meije. Okay, Nicolau. When I was in Vaikanze, she regularly came to the playing hall. She used to invite me for a coffee, and
Hmm.
oh,
Nice.
quite a classy lady.
Hmm. Yeah. So Romania has a pretty good record, at least in women's competition. In men's competition, I know the strongest team in Romania was when the I think there were Ghicescu at some point was still.
Well, the first time they got a very good place was in Buenos Aires. I think they tied for 56th in
Hmm.
78. Georgiou on the first board. Shuba was not yet in the picture. Georgiou, Ghicescu, Ghindă, who else?
You were too young to play that.
I was 13. I was 13.
Ah, I see.
But then they repeated in Thessaloniki 84. They again took the fifth, sixth place. Shuba was already playing. Maybe he was on the first board already.
Mhm.
And with me, okay, in Haifa 89, there was the European team championship. Not as strong as the Olympiad, but also quite strong. And we also took the fifth, sixth. We never got higher than that. I got a bronze medal on the third board,
Bravo.
and we played on six boards. I mean that was quite relevant.
Hmm.
Because you understand, the more boards there are, the clearer the advantage of such countries as Soviet Union is over the others.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Well, it's interesting. So there is kind of very interesting situations. There is a great camaraderie, a friendship between chess players from all countries, because
Yeah.
chess is a universal language. At the same time, in situations like this, the divisions are becoming are quite significant, and I'm wondering if Karyakin will be invited in
no,
just.
not in Saint Louis and not in Vaikanze for sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he will
No,
ever.
but I'm also asking myself if she doesn't risk ending the same way as Alekhine. Because
Yeah,
after all, Alekhine, okay, it's not very clear that he did something. I mean, he started as being an opposite to Hitler and everything. He even served under De Gaulle, but then he got
Mhm.
caught in the trap, and he 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 denied that he had written those articles. Maybe he was right. So
Mikhail, before I forgot, speaking about Alekhine, I was thinking about him as well. And remember his article where he was talking about Aryan chess.
No, but
So
the question is whether that was his article. You understand?
that's a question. I
He
agree.
denied. He denied after the war. He denied that denied having written such.
That's fine. So it's either him or somebody else pretending to be a Loken wrote that article. But I fail to see one thing. Alokin was Russian. Now, the Russian was the lowest in Hitler's hierarchy. The Slavs, the Slavic people, Russian especially, were at the very low end. The lowest were Jews, then Gypsies, and Russians were right there. Even Czechs and even Poles were higher in hierarchies of Hitler than Russians. So, how Russian could write the article about the great Aryan chess while being a Slav at the same time, Russian Slav?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I can see. Ken, what do you think about that?
It doesn't. No. I mean, there's the basic thing about why are the Russians resorting to saying that the Ukrainian government are Nazis when Zelensky is Jewish? I mean, why use such an extreme word? Again,
It's a Jewish Nazi. No, it's a new thing now. A Jewish Nazi. That's
Well,
what it is.
So-
By the way, talking about chess and politics, since we mentioned Buenos Aires a few times,
right.
you know, Buenos Aires was the first Olympiad where Korchnoi played after defecting. So in his book, he writes that all the players from the communist countries avoided him. He was playing for Switzerland, I think. They were avoiding him. The Hungarians would just make a sign with the head like hello and run away. And he was somehow very pleasantly surprised that all the Romanian players were coming to him and asking, "Oh, how are you, Victor? How is life?" So he appreciated the Romanian players. Ciocârlea was also
Yes, that's right.
Ciocârlea who wants.
Okay,
Yep.
guys.
So this may have to wait for next time,
Please do.
but let me just say that what I have is a mathematical theory designed toward the task of inferring truth from contradictory statements according to their extremeness, using the assumption of a strong common moral center. Okay. So in other words, I have a theory that tries to decide whether whether a lot of Russians outside Putin's immediate circle actually believe their own propaganda. So
We'll
maybe
find
next time
out.
I can expound
We'll find it
where
pretty
this
soon.
mathematical theory comes from. It
Yeah.
marries Archimedes, Newton, and phase change physics. So,
Ken, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
Hil Maria. Thank you so much. We will going now to continue on the Russian link. Ken,
Mhm.
would you like to join us on the Russian link as well?
I don't know. Well, I guess I should. Yeah. Oh, okay. If you don't mind my being mute. So, okay. All right.
Okay, I'll send you a link in a sec.
Okay.
And thank you very much for today's program. We'll talk much more about it. Oh, here is a link. Thank you, Nguyen. This is a
I
link.
see
to the
this.
Russian program.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay.
Bye bye, and see you
Bye.
next
Bye.
week.
Mhm.
Bye.